Well, hello, friends. Just want to share a little bit about reflections on Dharma. Um, an interesting quote this morning that said, a tree cannot reach heaven unless its roots reach down to hell," which is really similar to the Buddhist um, analogy of enlightenment rising like a beautiful lotus flower out of the mud of samsara. And, in this section, we're talking about the first noble truth, which is the truth of the dukkha or unsatisfactory conditions, which um, there's many different ways to think about them. Most obvious is the pain we experience, the physical pain in our bodies due to illness or injury. Or we experience mental pain when things don't go the way we want, when our plans get ruined, or, we meet with undesirable people, or we're separated from the people we love. I lost my father about a year ago, and it's still sad to think about the fact that he's no longer here, and I miss him. So this is the most basic level of suffering or dukkha. And then there's the suffering of change, which is basically um, the reality that we scurry around in our lives, um, trying to always find the bright spots and find the sweet sukha for our lives. Pleasurable experiences of the senses. It's a sunny day out right now, and think, oh, I want to go out in the sun and enjoy nature. But those experiences, whether it's delicious food or um, intimate relationships with others, or nice clothes and possessions, they don't last. They're born of conditions. They're constantly changing. And, the nice clothes we wear now, eventually they start to get itchy. We want to take a shower, or we get too hot, or we get too cold. And, if food were actually a source of happiness, it should intrinsically bring us happiness. The more we eat, the more we should be happy. But, we reach a certain point and our stomach is painful. And so, this suffering of change is basically the temporary alleviation of suffering. Um, so it's a little bit of a deeper concept that we have to think about, but you know, um, in all of these concepts, we really have to just. It's not enough to just think about them intellectually. We have to apply them to our own life, to think about them, and then once we get a really firm understanding, we get some sort of aha moment where it really makes sense to us, then it's important to meditate on that and really kind of extend that understanding so that it becomes a firm realization. Just a little bit more about the suffering of change. It's uh, another way of thinking about it is we're never quite satisfied in the present moment. I mean, Minimal Yonten last week spoke about the proverbial day at the beach where we go there and the sun is shining and the waves are, smoothly lapping at the shore. And, we have our friends about, and there's a cooler with cold, fruit juice or something, and, some nice food, fruits and maybe lunch. Uh, and, we lie down and we're on our towel and we're content for maybe 5 minutes, she said. I mean, I would say, maybe 1 minute. And then, very quickly the mind starts to look for something to improve the situation, make it a little bit better, remove the sense of lingering or looming dissatisfaction that starts to creep in like a hidden fog that says, something's missing here, you need to do something. And it's also related to the speed of modern society, I think, because we're so conditioned to run around uh, and shift our position, and do something else, tick off something else on our to-do list or go out and uh, we're not very comfortable by habit, just resting in the present moment, being content, not wanting anything else, just accepting whatever sensations are present in the body, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. Um, so this is a little bit about the suffering of change. And then lastly, the deepest form of suffering, and this is really a tough nut to crack, is crack it we must if we want to find lasting happiness of um, liberation and enlightenment. So this third form is called the suffering of suffering, or the all-pervasive suffering, or the I forget. There's probably other names for it, but it's basically the suffering of being born into one of the six realms of existence under the control of disturbing attitudes and karma. So, this situation is inherently unpleasant and miserable. I mean, we have our temporary happiness in life, but it never lasts until we can completely remove all three forms of the suffering. So, going back to the uh, analogy of the tree reaching up to heaven, needing to put its roots in hell, or the lotus flower, which rises out of the mud. What these analogies tell us is that we really need to understand suffering. That's like one of the basic foundations of the path. What are we practicing for? Do we just want some temporary pleasure and peace? I mean, that's okay. Meditation can be used to calm the mind and lower your blood pressure and temporarily quell the disturbing attitudes, reduce our anger, and kind of help avoid some negative karma from what would otherwise be a multiple hindrance attack, I think the teachers used to say. But true Dharma practice is not seeking merely the happiness of this life. It's uh, the three levels of practice are um, out of concern for the suffering of the lower realms of existence, the fact that we're going to die at some point, and until we completely remove the ignorance and disturbing attitudes from our mind, our death process is under the control of delusions and karma, which means we could be reborn anywhere. We could be reborn in any of the six realms of existence. We could be reborn in one of the hell realms, or as a hungry ghost, or as an animal inflicted by um, really gross ignorance and uh, all the sufferings of being chased by other animals, becoming a meal for another animal, being under the control of humans. So these are the most numerous realms of existence where the greatest number of sentient beings exist. And once you're in these realms, it's very difficult to get out of. So out of a concern for our own well-being, we generate this wish to practice Dharma so that we can have a better rebirth, ideally as a human being, where the conditions are most fortunate for practicing Dharma and contemplating. So that's the first level of motivation. And the second level is recognizing that a rebirth anywhere in samsara, any of these six realms of existence, is inherently unsatisfactory because we're still under the control of delusions and karma, the disturbing attitudes, anger, pride, jealousy, attachment, doubt, and so forth. All these attitudes and the karma that's arises out of acting from these attitudes creates the causes for us to be reborn in a suffering realm of existence. And so recognizing, cyclic existence, samsara, which literally means it's translated as cyclic existence, this wheel of going around and around, chasing happiness, but always being reborn under the control of delusions and karma. And it's it won't end until we generate renunciation, which is this firm determination to wake up and emerge, definite emergence. Jun Ki Sim is the Tibetan, which is translated as definite emergence. This real firm attitude that doesn't concern itself, doesn't get wrapped up into the pleasures and pains of samsara. It's the focus is on complete liberation and realizing that within samsara, all of these pleasures are temporary and are within the context of this ocean of suffering that um, so I mean this takes some mental fortitude to look at, and there's certainly a lot of resistance to kind of just say, oh, that's that depressing Buddhist stuff again that says life is suffering. Well, it's not exactly what Buddhism is saying. It's you have to think deeper. I mean, it's okay to have happiness. It's okay to enjoy ourselves and be happy and smile. And the sun's out right now, and we can see some uh, green leaves from a small tree on the porch blowing in the wind, and it's quite beautiful. And I can enjoy that. But I have to recognize that it's kind of like an illusion. It's not a lasting happiness that's going to provide me with permanent fulfillment. So this definite emergence, this wish to seek full or to seek liberation, and out of that we adopt the three higher trainings of ethics, concentration, and wisdom, because ultimately it's the wisdom that understands emptiness. Once we have a firm understanding of this, we understand and we can completely eliminate the root of ignorance and the self-grasping ignorance, the self-cherishing ignorance. Once we can do that, we can completely free ourselves. I mean, we have to purify all the traces of ignorance in our mind. And in order to do that, we have to have strong concentration, and that requires ethical discipline, because without ethical discipline, our mind can't really settle because we have a conscience. And if we've done something harmful, our conscience remembers and won't let us rest. We'll keep running around. I read something kind of funny today. Is the was it wisdom is constantly following me, but I keep running faster. Something like that. It's the wisdom, the understanding is of the lack of inherent existence of the self, people, phenomenon. It's right here. It's not difficult to understand if we apply ourselves, but it's hard to slow down and apply ourselves and kind of remove ourselves from the temporary distractions of unenlightened existence, where we kind of keep looking for all happiness and permanent happiness in the wrong places. I think I better get up and go find something in the kitchen now. I think it's time to go out and go check out that restaurant or whatever. Again, these things aren't bad. We shouldn't be guilty about feeding ourselves. It's necessary, but uh, do we live to eat, or do we eat to live? So, and then the third level of motivation for practice is, um, once we see the suffering that's all around us, you know, within our own life, looking within our own life, we understand that just as I don't want suffering, nobody else wants suffering. And we begin to see how all the beings around us, they're also, they want happiness, and but they're under the control of disturbing attitudes. Um, the, and if we really want to be happy in the fullest sense, it's giving up seeking our own pleasure first. I mean, of course, in order to help others, we have to become a fully enlightened being in order to help them in the best way possible. Uh, so it's necessary to have that motivation to completely purify one's own mind of all disturbing attitudes, and even the traces, the subtle imprints in the mind. But so that fulfills the benefit of oneself, once one's enlightened, one's own problems are solved. Um, but the motivation to achieve that is not seeking one's own happiness, seeking one's own liberation. It's seeking to be of highest benefit to all other beings. So this it's a beautiful path, and feel really fortunate to have had exposure to teachings from many great teachers, Venerable Tipton Children, Jado Rinpoche, and Yangtze Rinpoche, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and Khyentse Rinpoche, Geshe Wangdak. Just to name a few, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Khandro, Geshe Rinchen, Geshe Dawa, wrote the Library of Tibetan Archives about 20 years ago. So, we need these teachers in our life, and we need spiritual community, and that's what Dharma Friendship Foundation is here for. I don't consider myself a teacher. I'm just a student learning on the path, but I hope to see you and practice with you, and we can learn together, and um, bring peace and alleviation of suffering to the world. Through this melt, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious floating mind, not yet born, rise and live. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Just as Guru Medicine Guru with compassion guides all sentient beings infinite space, may I also become a compassionate guide of sentient beings, existing in all directions of the universe. In the snowy mountain paradise, you're the source of good and happiness. Powerful Tenzin Gyatso Chinmeizu, may you stay until samsara ends. Embodiment of the three divine refuges who blesses all, Gindan Tenzin, photo of the teachings. May your lifespan last for eternity. May your excellent deeds pervade all of time and space, and continuously ripen through nourishment of myself and all others. See you next week at the same time, 6 p.m. on Saturday.